A small rebel group from Yemen has fired over 100 attacks at US warships, and they're only getting started. These aren't just random missiles, they're part of a growing, global threat backed by Iran and possibly helping Russia. This isn't just about the Middle East anymore. It's about the future of world security. If that doesn't shock you, keep watching, because what you're about to hear will change the way you see this conflict forever. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that a once obscure rebel group nestled in the rugged mountains of Yemen has now evolved into one of the most dangerous, strategic threats facing the United States and the Western world? Yes, you heard that right. The Houthis, originally a little-known militia, are no longer just a local insurgency. They have transformed into a geopolitical time bomb with global consequences, operating as an aggressive extension of Iran's military ambitions. And yet, despite their meteoric rise in power and influence, the world, and especially the United States, seems to be playing a dangerous game of wait and see. Since 2015, the United States and its allies have tried, and catastrophically failed, to stop Iran from turbocharging the Houthi military machine. And now, this group is not just knocking on the doors of US interests, they are attacking them outright. October 2023 was a breaking point. That's when the Houthis unleashed a new era of regional warfare, launching drones and missiles toward Israel, attacking global shipping lanes, and thumbing their noses at some of the world's most advanced military defenses. And what was the American response? Measured. Defensive. Hesitant. A game of chess where the other player is flipping the board. The Houthis have already gathered precious intelligence, gleaned from repeated attacks, about how the United States defends itself. And make no mistake, they are not just using it for their own benefit. That data is currency. It can, and almost certainly will, be shared with America's other enemies, from Iran to Russia, helping adversaries fine-tune their strategies to bypass US military superiority. Every attack, every failed interception, feeds the beast. It's like we're handing them the playbook on how to defeat us. It gets worse. The Houthi menace is not only local or even regional anymore. Their operations in the Middle East are now a massive distraction for the United States, actively pulling strategic focus away from the Indo-Pacific, the region our own defense strategy has named as the top priority due to the growing shadow of China. Imagine that, an entire American military strategy derailed by a militant group with homemade drones and Iranian parts. That is the power of ignoring small fires until they become infernos. Let's rewind for a second. The Houthis began their journey in the early 1990s, rooted in northern Yemen. Over the decades, they battled their government, then conquered the capital in 2014. That's when they became more than a rebel group, they became rulers. The reaction from neighboring powers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Military intervention. But despite pouring billions into the fight, they failed to uproot the Houthis, thanks in no small part to Iran and its loyal proxy, Hezbollah, who armed, trained, and transformed the group into a regional missile powerhouse. These aren't conspiracy theories or dramatic guesses. These are facts. The Houthis are now smuggling weapons, drones, missiles, even missile parts, through the sea, on land, and past UN inspections like phantoms. The United States has tried to intercept them for nearly a decade but has barely made a dent. Hundreds of uninspected cargo loads have slipped through, building an arsenal that today threatens not just shipping lanes, but the global economy and regional stability. It's like watching a bomb being assembled in slow motion, knowing it's going to explode, and doing little more than sending a sternly worded letter. Then October 2023 hit. Like a scene out of a geopolitical thriller, the Houthis formally joined the war ignited by Hamas on October 7th. On October 19th, they launched their first missiles toward Israel, standing in firm alliance with Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. The US? It stayed back. It refused to act decisively. It didn't launch preventative strikes, nor did it target Houthi infrastructure early on. Instead, the US waited. And waited. until 26 attacks on international shipping and 9 direct threats to US warships finally forced a reaction in January 2024, but by then, it was too late. The US strikes were limited, largely symbolic, and far from a crippling blow to the Houthis. Some missiles were destroyed, a few launch sites targeted. But the attacks kept coming. If anything, they became even more precise. The Houthis had learned. They had adapted. Their attacks began to reflect deeper strategy, improved guidance, and more lethal combinations of drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic projectiles. And all the while, the United States clung to the illusion of avoiding escalation. What's chilling is this: the attacks aren't random. They are coordinated, tactical, and deeply informed. Behind them are mountains of data collected from every US interception attempt. The Houthis have launched over 111 attacks aimed at US and allied warships. Though they haven't struck one yet, they've come close, alarmingly close. These near misses are not failures. They are rehearsals. They are simulations being run in real time, collecting data for the next phase, possibly a successful strike on a US naval vessel, or worse. The US response has been reactive at best, feeble at worst. Military analysts agree, had the US acted more decisively in October or November 2023, the Houthis might have backed off. But that window is gone. Now, we face a situation where half measures are empowering our enemies, not containing them. Even the Iranian spy ship Behshad, which almost certainly played a crucial role in tracking and guiding Houthi missile attacks, remains operational. It's as if the enemy was given binoculars and we just smiled. It's not just about missile strikes and shipping lanes. The consequences run deeper. The longer this continues, the more the US is forced to reroute resources, delay Indo-Pacific operations, and weaken its posture in the Pacific. If tensions in the Taiwan Strait rise, and the Houthis launch a strategic attack, perhaps blocking the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, they could paralyze global trade and force Washington to make an impossible choice. It's not an exaggeration to say that the Houthis, with enough cunning, could hold the world economy hostage. And here's the brutal truth: the Houthis are winning the psychological war. Every time they launch an attack and the US doesn't strike back hard, they gain confidence. Every ship they threaten without consequence becomes a propaganda victory. They've learned that they can fire at warships, cities, and commercial vessels and still hold onto their power base in Yemen. Their message is simple and terrifying: we can strike, and we will strike. And you won't do anything about it. This is what happens when escalation management becomes paralysis. The United States cannot afford to keep playing defense in a game where the rules are written by its enemies. Strategic restraint has its place, but not when it's mistaken for fear. Not when it allows an insurgent group to morph into a regional superpower proxy. Not when the cost is global security, national credibility, and operational readiness in the Pacific theater. If this trend continues unchecked, the lessons the Houthis have learned will echo through Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing. They'll replicate the strategy. They'll learn how to probe American defenses, how to distract and divide, and how to weaponize caution. It's not just Yemen on the line anymore. It's the future of US deterrence. It's the world's confidence in American leadership. And it's whether or not the next enemy believes they can launch the first strike and get away with it. This is a wake-up call. Not a whisper, but a siren. The time for incrementalism is over. If the United States wants to prevent this threat from metastasizing into a global crisis, it must act boldly, decisively, and without hesitation. The Houthi threat isn't going away. It's evolving. And unless we meet it with equal evolution in our response, we may very well look back on this moment as the one where we blinked and the world changed forever.